Wife cheated. I am so angry. I am care of myself. Update you. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Wife cheated. I am so angry. I am scared of myself. Update 2. I'm sorry it's been radio silence. I've had my hands full since my last post. I see a lot of questions in my PM messages, so I figured it's easier just to make this update. I started calling Mason twice per day after my last post. He would always tell me everything was okay, but I guess it really wasn't. I was focusing and trying to get myself under control. I started going to IC, that helped some. But what really changed things is when I went to try boxing. The first place I visited was kind of grainy and run down. Still, the 5 guys that were there seemed to have this amazing camaraderie going on. And I really wanted in on that. I wanted to belong there badly. They all told me I had to talk to the old man. He was the owner of the place. Apparently, he decided who could join or not. They all had a lot of respect for him, so was kind of apprehensive. Let's just say that the old man has an abrasive personality. To begin with, he just listened, but once he started talking, I was quickly getting more and more agitated. There wasn't anything I can really put my finger on. Everything he said was true, and maybe that was angered me, or maybe it was the tone. Like, every question or sentence was an accusation of sorts. The old man made me feel like I was not good enough to become a member of his club. I suddenly found myself in a position of arguing with him or for him to let me prove that I was worthy. I still haven't figured out if he is just an asshole or some kind of genius. That said, the old man has really affected my life in a very positive way, even though he is a very uncomfortable to be around. I am starting to see why people have such respect and admiration for him. The old man has helped me understand why I was so angry and how to think more clearly moving forward. It's a story in itself, but this is already getting long, so back to the main issue. A few days after my post, about 20 minutes after I had talked to my son, he called me back. He was crying, and he apologized for lying to me. He lied when he said everything was okay at home. He went on me to tell that my wife was just sitting in front of the TV staring at it, even he turned it off. He didn't have any food to eat. The house smells, and the only thing he had eaten in the last 2 days was some sandwiches Efron's mother had made for him when he visited. Of course, I immediately rushed home. I could smell the rotting garbage in the hallway even before I got in the door. The house was absolutely filthy mess. It clearly hadn't been cleaned since I left almost a month ago. The floor were covered in crumpled up sheet of paper, overflowing dirty dishes in the sink, broken glass on the floor, wrapping garbage, smell absolutely disgusting. I went to check on my son first. I had picked up a burger for him on the way over. I asked him to stay in this room and eat while I go and talk to his mom. I assured him everything would be okay. I was home. I was going to take care of him. He cried and hugged me a bit before I went to check on his mother. That hack felt so good. I had missed him so much. I am never leaving him again. My wife sat staring at a screen like my son had described it to me. What he didn't tell me was how terrible she looked. She had lost a terrifying amount of weight. She was just skin and bones. Her eyes were sunk into her head, dark rings, lifeless skin, cracked lips, messy dirty hair, filthy clothes. I grabbed a chair and sat myself down between her and the kiwi. The smell coming of her was absolutely terrible. There was a bucket on the floor. Later found out it was a half full of a week-old vomit. I felt a deep pain for her. I wanted to protect her, help her, make her better for a while. I completely forgot what she had done. Seeing her like this was really painful for me. I guess in some ways, I still love and care for her, despite what she has done. That fact kind of terrifies me. Something is wrong with me too, I think. I didn't know what it said to her, to be honest. She was clearly not at all there. She actually asked me if I was real. When I said yes, she broke down crying in a way I've never seen anyone cry before. Her crying, or wailing is probably a better word, was so loud sort of startled me. Without warning, mid-scream she either fell asleep or passed out. I put my feet bit in her arm because I don't really know how to take someone's pulse. Her heart rate was varied up and down between a 100 to 150, so I figured that's probably not good. I made sure she was in a affordable position, on the sofa, and I wet the slot of her face before I ran and asked our neighbor for help. They were happy to look after our son while I took her to the hospital. She has been there for 7 days now, I think. I might be blurry on the days, to be honest. I have visited once, but she gets so upset from seeing me that a doctor's amended that I don't visit for now. They have no diagnosis for her yet, and they have no idea of when or even if she will come out of it. I have been focusing and taking care of my son since I made sure he is regular IC, and he looks like he is doing better now. There's no doubt he has been traumatized by this. I am drowning in guilt from my part in causing him this pain. I have been in contact with a lawyer to try and get custody rights for obvious reasons. I don't know how that will work out. I have also prepared for divorce, but I am holding off for the time being. It takes us several days to clean the house. I decontaminate the fridge with bleach, and still, it smelled like rotten food, so I actually had to get a new one. I also found out that my wife had taken all my dirty laundry into bed and made a body shape of it. It had some additions to make it look anatomically correct, and it's kind of disturbing, to be honest. I looked through all her papers that she left all over the house. It's incoherent nonsense for the most part. Some pages is dates and times. I can't Anderson most of it apart from some pages that have long lines of sorry, written in it. Most pages would text just incision into a wiggly line in the middle of a sentence. I don't know what to do. My anger is completely gone, replaced by sadness of the situation and for the trauma and pain inflicted on my son. I feel bad for my wife, but I also understand why I was angry and how I have changed to deal with the pain. I have left a hug piece of myself behind. And she caused that. I don't know if I have it in me to forgive that. A big part of my personality was being a good husband and a provider for a long time. That part of me was mortally wounded by her affair. It left a part of me behind. It was just too painful to keep. It's too early to say anything about where we end up. As for now, all avenues are open. I am so hurting and confused. I will just continue to rebuild my self-esteem and my self-image of my masculinity if my wife comes out of it. I will talk to her and see where I go from there. Right now, I need to focus on my son. I need to make sure he is okay. Sorry, it's not anything spectacular like the other stories I have read on here with principled confrontation and epic revenge. I am exhausted and said, I don't know what to do. It was also clear-cut in my mind before I came back. Now, I just can't see any good ways forward.